Okay, guys, let's get rocking and rolling here. Everybody can see my screen, okay?
Yep. There.
Perfect. Okay, so welcome back everybody to day three of our revenue challenge. Super excited to have you guys here. Hopefully, I can deliver some more value to you, adding on to the last 2 days of our revenue generating challenge. Um, just to kind of get into this and get started, today we're going to be focusing on designing a lead generation plan. Okay, so most of us here have one of two problems, or both at the same time, is either we need to get leads and opportunity into our pipeline, all right, or we're not closing enough sales. All right, so in somewhere in those categories, we have to resolve some things. So today's going to be focusing on really developing a strong lead generation plan. Okay, so if you can recall, yesterday we focused in on creating an offer. All right, having an offer that actually resonates with your ideal client, with your ideal prospect, and being able to position it. So now that we have our offer, we're going to be focusing on a couple of other areas. So I'm going to share with everybody in the chat here um, our workbook for generating leads. So typically, when we're generating a lead plan, there's literally 1,000 different options for what you can possibly do. What I've done for you guys is I've narrowed it down to only proven strategies that I've actually used. Okay, so in the chat you'll see a workbook for 101 proven strategies. Oh, I guess I got to make that for everybody. Give me 1 second. And where we start off with is basically focusing in on free strategies first, all the way down to paid strategies. Okay, so I want to explain a couple things just so we have some clarity on your lead generating strategy. Most of us already have opportunities that we haven't actually utilized. So before you go out and create new opportunities, I'm going to strongly encourage you guys to consider all of the potential um, people that you already have in your pipeline. Okay. So I always like to go after the lowest hanging fruit first. Before I'm going to buy a lead, before I'm going to start prospecting or anything like that, I'm going to actually make sure that the leads that I have in my pipeline, I've done my best to convert those first. Okay. So I'm going to be sharing with you guys some follow-up strategies. We're going to try and keep it really simple. These are going to be actionable things that we can take action on today to start to generate more revenue. And I will safely say um, that 90% of the contractors I work with do have a completely ineffective follow-up strategy. So meaning that the leads that they're bringing in, they're not consistently closing enough and they're giving up way, way, way too soon. Okay. So to give you context to this, I get the privilege of looking over hundreds of contractors' sales processes and help build them out from scratch and been, doing this for 23 years. What we've seen, especially through COVID, is that the number of follow-ups, all right, is roughly about 9 to 13. Okay, on average. Okay, so for the guys out there that follow up once or twice, completely ineffective. All right, the reality is people are busy. People, it's not their top priority. Maybe they got a quote from you. It's been forgotten about, especially add in, recession and concerns about spending money. If you're not able to consistently follow up with your leads, that is where you're basically flushing money down the drain, right? That's where we're blowing a lot of our opportunities. So I have a couple of SOPs that I want to share with you, as well as the actual process that we're going to go through step by step, when you should follow up, what days you should follow up, and doing it on a consistent basis. Now, just full disclosure here, obviously the system for following up and the automations and stuff that I'll be describing throughout here. That is, what we offer. We fully automate sales processes, help you to, be more focused on making face-to-face sales. But again, if you are just starting out, and we're trying to generate revenue right out the gate, I'm giving you the actual steps that you can do manually as well. Okay. Over time, you're definitely going to want to automate those. You want to speed those things up. We have tons of things that's a part of our special offer here if we want to take this whole thing and just have us build it. But hopefully you can get some big wins in here just by following the steps. Okay, so pretty simple what we have to do. We're going to take the offer that we had developed yesterday. We're going to launch that offer. Again, I've given you 101 different strategies to use it, to position it. Step 2 to this is going to be to follow up consistently, and we're going to go through that today. And step 3 is going to be to track our progress. Okay. Pretty simple. As a contractor, we have 3 things that we have to do. We have to get work, we have to do work, we got to keep score. All right. When we break it down like that, it's pretty easy. I wish it were as easy said as done, but ultimately we don't want to overcomplicate what it means to grow a business. Okay. So we're going to choose where we're going to launch our new offer that we had developed yesterday. We can do it Facebook, emails, ads, or in your network. Okay. If you're just starting out, you don't have a lot of budget, you're not looking to spend a lot of money on buying leads or running Facebook campaigns, or if you don't have the experience, my recommendation is to go to a community Facebook group. All right. One that is local to your town or your place. All right. Very simply look up, people looking for services. Oftentimes they'll be posted in those community groups. There's probably 20 or 30,000 of your ideal prospects that are sitting right there. Be a good community member. Okay. So meaning don't just go in there and try and solicit work. You're going to offer advice. You're going to offer, to present yourself as a trusted advisor. Okay. Answer a few questions in those community groups. And what you're going to find is that next thing you know, people will start to recommend you. All right. And then there's people that are directly looking for your services every single day. All right. If you're a plumber, electrician, general contractor, okay, make some posts there that are offering value, and you will see a huge, a huge way to get started right there. If I were to do it all over again and I wasn't, to start right from scratch, that's probably the avenue I would take. It has the best return on your investment in terms of your time versus what you're going to get in return. And again, with a good offer in place, you're going to do very, very well in those type of settings. Okay. Another low-hanging fruit is your contact list, email list, LinkedIn, lists. If you're doing B2B, again, start networking, start getting yourself out there. I've given you all those strategies again, like I said in the workbook. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me. We're not going to get too deep into the marketing strategies. We could make this 100 calls if I wanted to. Really want to make sure that we're taking imperfect actions as much and as often as possible, and that includes deciding where are we going to launch this offer. All right. If you have an email list, if you're going to go back to existing customers, all right, we shared with you some offers that you can do to develop more referrals. We've shared with you how to incentivize your referrals. Okay. Now, here's the key. Here's the secret sauce. Anything you're going to offer, you must have follow up to it. All right. Emails, we had to have a follow up sequence to it. We've got to have a way of following up on new leads. Okay. If you guys learned to actually convert your leads more efficiently, you're going to find that you don't actually require many leads on a monthly basis. So when we really look at our numbers and understand, most contractors trying to do 0 to 250 grand need less than 7 leads a month. Okay, they need to close 3 jobs a month. When we break it down like that, it's pretty simple. All right. And an average lead, if we're trying to go fast, an average Facebook lead, an average Google lead, and I mean, again, don't hold me right to this, but they run about $100. Okay. So we're looking at $700 if we want to pay for it. All right. I don't recommend Angie's List or anything like that. That's not a good choice for you. But again, if you're willing to do a little bit more manual work, LinkedIn, places like that where we can generate conversations, community groups, you don't need any fancy advertising, no websites, no nothing. And you're able to generate, opportunities for yourself. The next step to that, and again, I would put this before websites and anything else, if you're just starting out, would be, again, get your follow-up process in place. Okay. most of the money, and you can take this to the bank. The money's in the follow-up. All right. The closing of the deal. So if you didn't close it on site or you didn't close it the first round, we've got to make sure that we have a consistent way to follow up with them. And if you're doing anything above 250,000 or planning to do anything above 250,000, I promise you, you're going to want to automate this process. You're going to want to have somebody put it in place. We're here to help. We want to see you get those things in place because the reality, which I shared yesterday, is 70% of your time in sales, if you're doing it manually, is spent doing non-sales activity. All right. Meaning we're following up with customers, we're sending out texts, we're sending out emails. All of that stuff is something you want to get off your plate. And for the value that you're going to receive back, it's kind of a no-brainer. Get somebody to automate it. We're happy to help you with that. Okay. So bare minimum, we want to plan for at least 3 touch points with every single lead. Okay. I actually recommend quite a bit more. And I want to share that with you guys in terms of understanding your basics of follow-up. So let's just take our process here. All right. And for anybody that is looking for our 100K, if you have any sort of leads in your pipeline already, this tool is very helpful for actually going through your entire sales process. So when a new lead comes in, what information are we intaking? Okay, how is that being collected? Okay. Um, this to us is a CRM. It's actually what we offer. We create these CRMs so that leads are automatically added into a lead intake. Okay. From that point, you can have an AI actually try to qualify your customer. You can have yourself reaching out and qualifying that customer. Again, these are all processes and procedures that you want to have that'll be, fairly specific to your business. All right. So again, like you said, or like I said, we can have a manual and a non-manual process here. And ultimately, what we're doing is trying to schedule them to an appointment. Okay. We want to get in front of them as often as we can. If you're running colder leads, okay, cold leads being Facebook or anything where somebody doesn't necessarily know, like, or trust you yet. All right. What you're going to find is that and you've got to have a procedure for actually getting them qualified, getting the appointments scheduled. Okay. Big difference between running leads that are referrals. All right. So they're already warmed up and open to speaking with you versus somebody that may be passive or in research mode. Okay. You're going to see this. This is where a lot of the work has become. Gone are the days, unfortunately, where people, reach out to you or inbound, call you without having a really robust Google ads campaign or something along those lines other than your referrals, right? So if you're generating leads, Facebook, depending on where they are in the buying process, all right, plan to have a few steps going in, a few contact points. People don't get back to you right away. I'm sure you've experienced being ghosted before. Don't give up. All right, this is the big thing. Just because someone didn't respond to you immediately does not mean they're not interested. Okay. Part of what our CRM does and allows you to do is to see what emails they're opening, what texts they're seeing. All right. And maybe it's just they're still researching. And maybe we've got to add something to our sales process that gets them to, book appointments more consistently. All right. But here's my recommended timeline that we want to follow. And we're going to follow up for 30 days minimum before they become a nurturing sequence. Okay. A nurturing sequence is basically, again, if you can think of it as like a newsletter, gives out information, warms up your prospect. Maybe they reached out to you during the research phase, decided to put the project off. If you give up on that lead, you are losing a fortune. I mean, this is where the money's, again, like I said, is made. So again, understand that your prospects may again ghost you or seem like they're ghosting you, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't convert that into a scheduled appointment now or 30 days down the road or 90 or 120 days. All right. Especially if you have a good system in place that's going to do that automatically for you. Okay. For my guys out there doing it manually, here's what we do. We call it the 3 box method. All right. We're going to call, email, text, call, email, text. All right. Day 1, day 3, day 5, day 9, day 14, day 21, day 30. Okay. So you can very quickly see how these activities doing manual will add up very quickly and could take a lot of your time. All right. So again, if you're just starting out, do this yourself manually. You don't have a lot of leads to follow up on. That's cool. All right. But if you're looking to grow and you're looking to expand your business, this is what we're seeing across the board through all of our accounts. Again, especially if you're trying to grow your business aggressively. Okay. So next we want to, and again, I'm just using a boilerplate here, but this is for a roofing contractor. Basically, we're going to determine after our initial intake which buckets are going down, if it's a retail repair insurance or retail replacement. And then we have obviously procedures for how to perform the inspection, what we do on site. Okay, that is a part of your sales process. Okay, I can't stress this enough to you guys. A lot of sales are lost just by making silly mistakes in terms of how you address the customer, how you make them feel. All right. It leads to a lot of whether you're closing that deal or not. So I often get the immediate response that I've got a excellent closing ratio. I close like 90% of my jobs, and I shake my head yes and quietly disagree with them in terms of that being effective. If you are closing 90% of your jobs, you are too cheap. You should not be closing 90% of your jobs. If you are closing 10% of your jobs, you have a sales problem. Okay. Meaning that you need to learn how to sell properly to human beings. Although automation is cool, all right, it gets you in front of the customer faster, speed to lead, which we talked about on the first day, all right, absolutely critical. But if you don't have a sales process for moving that person through the sales process and successfully getting them to close, all right, it doesn't matter about any of these things. It doesn't matter how great your marketing is. It doesn't matter about any of it. All right, we have to get better at actually closing customers. Now, the good news here is most contractors suck at sales and they don't even know it. All right. So again, these are part of the problems that we fix, helping you to have an actual sales process in place, one that you're confident in, not being salesy in front of your clients, and seeing your closing ratios for high ticket sales go up to 40 or 50%, where that's a really good number if you're charging a premium price. Okay. So big difference. Anybody can give things away. It's a big, big change when you're charging a premium price, meaning you're in the 30 or 20 to 30% margin club on every job. All right. That's where we need to be decent. We don't have to be fully professional, but we need to be decent at closing. Okay. And that involves having a process. So next, again, now that we've given the estimate out, if we haven't closed on the first call, and this is B2B, B2C, doesn't matter. All right. This is our follow-up schedule. Okay. So again, you can see 3-box method, call, email, text, call, email, text. And we're not giving up on them for the first 30 days. Again, you may think that this is aggressive. It's not. It's not that aggressive nowadays. And ultimately, again, if you have a problem that you can solve for your customer, it would be a shame for you to quit or give up early and have somebody else come and take the job just because you failed to follow up. Okay. As I've said, especially just put yourself in their shoes. They've had 3 contractors, 4 contractors, 5, who knows, show up. They've been through 3 or 4 sales presentations. How much of that information do you think they've retained? Not very much. Do you think they even remember who you are specifically? No. So again, and especially if you didn't do a great job in the sales process and you didn't have a really great proposal, you didn't have anything that really stood out, you're gonna get beat out just by the follow-up, right? So somebody that's just following up more consistently will probably win the job because there's really nothing to change the client's mind. Okay. Follow up is a great way to reinforce your offer. Okay. So we're going to use this communication opportunity to reinforce key points that we're making during our sales process. All right. We want to use information to get them to know, like, and trust us. All right. And I will stress this to everybody here kind of that's listening in. We are definitely in a post-trust era. I would say we're in a post-trust recession. All right. Nobody trusts anybody. Okay. I don't know if you guys have picked up on that much, but there is zero trust in the market between contractors, especially if you come in and you've pitched them. All right. You've made a hard sales pitch, old school, just, car salesman like. I can guarantee you that nobody likes to be sold. Nobody. All right. And if that's what you're doing, all right, there's a good chance that you're losing a lot of sales there. On top of that, if we're not really actually building value and trust with our customer, all right, the chances of you closing high ticket or consistently are pretty much next to nil. Okay. And we see this day in and day out, small adjustments here, learning how to have an offer that you can stand behind that gives value to the customer, which we talked about yesterday, but also following up on those key points, all right, and getting the customers to actually sell themselves, all right. Again, asking, good questions that bring out the real core problem that the customer is experiencing. These are really, really important to your follow-up. Okay. So once again, I'm going to share this in the chat with you. It goes through the whole system, the process. Again, I'm going to give you, some other templates as well. So really, nobody here will have an excuse, and we're going to take action today. All right, imperfect action even. I don't care if you don't have a CRM. I don't care if you don't wait for these things. Okay. If you have opportunity in your pipeline right now, you have a responsibility to yourself and to your business, all right, to convert that into revenue. All right. I'm going to give you all the tools that you need to, and I want you to take action today. Okay. We don't need to wait for something to happen, or we don't need to wait to get a new fancy toy or anything else. If you can't do this at the very basic level, all right, you have no business trying to speed it up with AI or automation or anything like that. Again, we face these challenges day in and day out. I want to make sure that I'm being clear with everybody here. Until you've actually done the process, seen the benefits, and understand how it works, it's not advisable that you go and speed it up, because that's what AI and automations do, is they take your sales process and they make it faster. Okay. They, again, give you speed to lead. But if you don't know what you're saying, or you don't know what you're trying to reinforce, and you're not clear about your message and what you're trying to get that customer to do, all it's going to do is make you look silly. Okay. And I don't recommend it. So again, work with a professional if you need to in developing these things. I'm giving you templates. I want you to personalize them. I want you to make them your own. Again, take a little bit of time, make a little bit of effort on, making sure that those messages will resonate with your client, that they match back to your offer. Again, what's the point in sending anything if it's not, clearly getting the customer to make the next step? Okay. I'm gonna just stop here for a quick second. Anybody have any questions in regards to what I'm showing here in terms of the sales process?
Maybe me. So I got some cold leads
Hmm.
that have been in my, so I did like the whole thing, day 1, 2, 3, 5,
Yep.
30, plus some extra phone calls, nothing. You
Yep.
mentioned at some point you just keep going,
Oh, I
but
never. So here's the rule. I never stop until they tell me to stop. They have given me permission to contact them, and I'm going to contact them as many times until they tell me to stop. All right. Again, I take the outcome off the table. I don't get offended by someone not responding to me. I know that that's human nature. I have looked at thousands and thousands of these situations, and I know how consumer behavior is. Okay. So what I recommend is, this is an intense process, over the 30 days. All right. What we do is we lean that back. So it's called you would run re-engagement email sequences. Also, you would run a nurturing sequence. Okay. So maybe it wasn't the right time now. Also,
yeah.
a place to introduce your referral offer. Okay. Great time after that 30 days. Hey, maybe we didn't do business with you. All right. But here's what we're offering, this incentive to recommend us to someone else. All right, great place to position that. And I think I've shared with you too, Nick, that like 40% of our leads that we generate come from people we never did business with.
Yeah, they
Right?
just from referrals. So you
That's
would
right.
put them, so you would do the 30 days and then put them in the nurture and
That's
then
right.
keep,
And then the nurture sequence pulls all those other elements out, right? So again, we're making a referral offer, we're making additional offers.
Mhm.
Maybe they had the work done by someone else. The other big thing too is, again, getting we have it, you have it as well, is like we keep following up to get their feedback. So we're trying to get them to say that we didn't get the job. The quicker we can say, "Hey, we lost the job," then we can kind of take them off the board. All right. And
Yeah.
they'll fill out a customer survey. All right. Again, you're still friends. You still have a viable opportunity, just not good for this job or this round. Does that make sense?
Yeah, just I had nobody fill the survey yet. Like,
Yeah.
so I got those that didn't reply, those that didn't say no.
Yep.
I put them in the nurture. So I would do the 30 days, put
Yeah.
them in
And
the
then,
nurture. And then
mhm,
there's going to be another sequence for the nurture. Like every 2 months, we send like an offer or just
right.
like a,
And your new
hey,
campaigns. You got it.
okay. And who and when is there already like something built in for that nurture sequence?
There's again, we'd have to take a look at it. I don't know exactly how far we went with it, but generally we always put a 3 month nurture sequence, and then from there, what you do is you use your social media posts, all right, because you're building new offers. So new campaigns, for example, I recommend you run one new campaign, or promotion every 90 days, right? We talked about
Okay.
that yesterday in terms of positioning. You run that back to the list. If they haven't opted out, and you can see that they're still opening emails, they're still texting, like, or they're still reading the text and everything else, then you go for as long as they'll accept them, right? It's only when they opt out that it's over.
Yeah. And when they hit stop, it's gone.
That's right. But up to then, again, what do you have to lose? So that's
Yeah.
the mentality we want to take into it. Again, if anything, you're branding your business to a prospect that you paid for a lead for or you generated a lead on. Okay. And like I said, take it from me. We've been using these systems for over a decade. We know how they convert. We've had people on our list that we didn't sell stuff to for, 10 years plus, but they've referred us 9, 10 times. How does that work? How is that like? It's just the way that you look at your opportunities, right? So maybe we didn't do business with them. We were too expensive. That's okay. All right. Do they have family members? Do they have friends? Are they going to remember us? Are they open to another offer down the road? Absolutely, right? As long as your sales process was done well, all right, you made a good connection with them, you gave them a quote, you offered their service. Again, here's good, good rapport there. There's no reason why they would be offended by it, right? And
Mm.
that you should stop is really where I'm getting at.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions in terms of what we're covering here? Any other, situations you want some advice on? Okay. So we'll kind of move on. Here's another place I really want to make sure that we're emphasizing on is that our sales process doesn't just stop when we get the sale or we get the okay, right? Can't can't stress this enough to you. All right. There's a whole sales to production handoff. Again, this is part of the problems that we see regularly and we aim to rectify, is if we just stop at we got the okay. All right. I know what happens. Then we have a bottleneck of the sales to production handoff. This is where 90% of our problems occur. All right. 90% of the problems in the field occur from the sales to production handoff and the communication in between those two places. Okay. Also, again, most of the inefficiency occurs from the sales to production handoff. And again, guys work really, really hard on developing their sales processes and getting them, dialed in so that they can have consistency in closing. All right. And then they completely neglect the whole delivery and production side of it or the communication side of it. So once again, I've given you some opportunity here to think about those things. Like, what happens after we win the job? What are the steps? How do we get that into a production manager's hands? Or how do we delineate between sales to production? Okay. We want to have a very clear process. So this is a good opportunity to use the tool here to really map yours out. Okay. Make sure that you have clarity on all of the, elements that go into running a job. Because I promise you, if you fix your sales process and you fix your sales thing, it's going to bring a lot more work than you were expecting. And now we have a whole new problem. Right. So again, I'd love to say that it's a silver bullet or a magic pill, but I've yet to find one. I don't offer them. If you know where I can get one, hey, let me know. But the reality is, when we fix one thing, it's going to lead to problems other areas. Again, this is a part of what we do here at the Contractor AI is help you straighten out all of these areas as you grow and scale. If you're interested in that, we're going to drop some links in the chat box for the offer. But as well as the tools that you can work on these things on your own. But we want to be very, very clear. So again, these are part of our sales playbooks that we go through and making sure, I mean, even your collections, like what's the process, what's the steps, right? A lot of these things can be automated. It can be built into a complete system that allows you to, get through jobs quicker, right? And we talked about speed and how important it is. I'll emphasize by saying money loves speed, right? Anybody wants to debate me on that, we can certainly debate on it, but ultimately the guys that are doing it the best right now in the top 1 to 2% have figured this out. All right. Speed to lead, 78% of customers choose to go with the contractor that responds first. All right. You want to win the game? Get faster. All right. Deliver better, speak better, have a better offer. Okay. That's going to solve a lot of the revenue issues that you have. All right. If you want to really take it to the next level, I mean, ultimately, after that, we have to apply the same principles to how we actually perform our work, how we recruit and hire. All of these things play into systems, right? So, again, having systems in place that allow you to do these things more efficiently, that is the advantage, right? That allows you to use generally average people and get, very extraordinary results. Okay. So, in the chat as well, and actually in the school group, you'll see that we have a new profile open. What I'll be sharing with you guys is a basic follow-up procedure that I want you guys to use. So give me 1 second. There we go. And I'm going to give you, because I know that some of this may be already standardized for some of you guys on the call, and others, maybe you're just starting out. So I wanted to make sure I give you two plays today. One's a little bit more advanced, and one is very simple. Okay, so we're going to look at, share my screen with you guys. A very simple standard follow-up process. Okay. So like I said, no fancy gadgets, no nothing like that. We don't need to, build a CRM if we're not ready for that yet. Okay. All I want you to do is follow our 3 box method. All right. Our text message can be simple. I've given you the templates for it. All right. So there you go. Very basic, very simple. Again, I'm going to give you no excuses today for not taking action. Anybody that is in your sales pipeline, whether they've gotten a quote or not, all right, whether they've, maybe you've given a quote out. I don't care if it's been 30 days since you've had a last touch point. Start following up and being consistent with it. Okay. No magic to this stuff. It's not a mystery. Companies are doing it at scale day in and day out. This is really what separates the contractors that are consistently busy and working on bigger problems from the guys that are barely getting by and don't have enough leads or opportunity, right? This is the revenue generator portion of it. Okay. Not to take away from yesterday's conversation, of course, offer, of course, marketing, all of these things are important. All right. But again, the conversion is the most important. If you can convert your opportunities, even if you don't have many, all right, by having a good, strong message, by having a consistent, clear follow up that isn't highly salesy, that offers value, all right, you will be successful no matter what marketing channels you use. Okay. So I just wanted to make sure I was clear about that. So in here again, if you guys follow along, I would like you to personalize these messages. I've even gone as far as, putting in where in brackets if you wanted to send it out as is. All right. So again, no excuses here for not being able to follow through. Okay. Anybody have any questions about this tool? No? Okay. I'm going to throw that in the chat for you guys today. Look at that. I'm even making it easy. You don't even have to go to school. Okay. All right, now we're going to talk about something a little bit more advanced. And I use this strategy often. I have sales teams, I have sales reps. Okay. And what we do and what we found more often than not, especially for our style of sale and our ticket price, is that by bringing in a sales manager sooner into the conversation after a client has met with a rep, all right, gives us even more range and opportunity to sell. Okay. So I wanted to quickly discuss that as a option for you guys. All right. And again, can be fully automated into the process. All right. We get a tremendous amount of recovered jobs from it. And the reason why is quite simple. It's been used since, I'm sure since the beginning of sales in one form or another. But people will often not feel as comfortable with the sales rep as they will perhaps with the owner of the company. Okay. So if you are sending someone else out that represents you, all right, it's always not a bad idea. And we know it from the conversions, all right, that we have a place where we're going to, intervene or reach out to the customer again as a second party to that decision making. Okay. Again, it's just about really making sure that we're focusing in on that conversion, and being upfront and formal with the customers. So we have a sales manager follow-up model that we're going to, after a sales rep has had a presentation, and you can use it in other forms too. It can be the office manager, it can be whoever. All right. And we're basically going to reach out and try to get that conversation rolling again. We're going to try to get them basically to tell us what the issue is that's stopping them from actually moving forward, dealing with the objections. All right. Again, this is where we can get into some discounting if necessary, or negotiating, I will call it. All right. But if you're not giving yourself that second layer of opportunity, again, you're going to leave a lot of projects on the table, right? So maybe you didn't make a great impression as a sales rep out there. They were unclear, really didn't differentiate yourself. That happens, okay? Or maybe they needed to think about it. That usually means that we had a problem in our sales process if you're getting those objections. A great place to kind of implement is your sales manager. That's that second neutral party that's going to reach out and try and pull that objection out of them. Okay. If we know what the real objection is that they're having, if it's price, if it's, again, uncertainty, if it's time, we want to really get that out of them, and they'll often more than likely open up to a manager versus the actual rep. All right. It's just human nature. I don't know, can't really give you any better explanation for it, but I've given you some touch points here. And again, it doesn't necessarily have to be a sales manager, it can be, somebody else within the company. All right. And that's just going to give you an extra opportunity here to convert. Okay. Out of curiosity, has anybody used a strategy like this before in their sales process? No? Okay. Johnny, have you ever used a sales manager, like intervene with a sale?
No, I haven't never had a sales manager.
Okay.
We've kind of done a little informal of this text messaging, but
Hmm.
not the number of touches that we need to do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and again, like here's the harsh reality behind it. Like it's not getting better. All right. So society has become acceptable of ghosting. And that's becoming, a very obvious thing. People in general, especially if they're bringing leads in off the internet and various other places, that they're not obligated to you. Okay. And they're not afraid to burn your time either. So, I mean, we have to be very creative in how we're getting people to move from that cold to warm to a referral customer. And I think we're all, kind of seeing that, especially this year, as the demand has dropped in the market. People have become more cautious about spending money. This is where people that are companies that have got a very good sales and marketing process in place are succeeding. All right. They're growing in a recession. We're growing through recession. We've had one of our most profitable years this year. So, with that in mind, we've also recognized that it's a lot harder, right? It's taking a lot more times to follow up. We're converting jobs now that we priced, back in February and January. All right. Had we given up though, all right, they would be gone. Somebody else would be doing them. All right. And all it takes is just having consistency in that follow up, having consistency in your messaging, making sure you're thinking about the client journey. All right. Now, I'm not talking here about spamming people, and I want to be really, really clear about that. Right. There's, within the CRMs that we use, we don't spam people. Like if somebody's showing no interest or no engagement with our content, we stop sharing it. Right. That to us, again, at a certain point tells us that contact is dead. All right. If they haven't opened a text, an email, or anything like that, we can see that. Okay. If they've been unresponsive, we're not just going to keep, slamming them, because that's not good for the health of our emails and everything else that goes into this. We're only continuing to communicate with people that are opening our emails, that are, responding to our texts. Okay. So again, just so I'm being clear, there are laws against spamming people. Again, these people have all opted in. They've shown interest at one point. All right. They may be at various points in the sales process, but again, understanding this and really kind of removing your fear of objection. That's kind of what I get a lot of from contractors, is they feel like this is way too much. And at that point, I have to, as an objection, agree with them. All right. It's too much for them, but it's not too much for their customer. Okay. It's not too much for, their business. And when we remove ourselves from that perception, things really start to change with our business. Okay. And you will be surprised with the feedback you do get. Yes, you're going to get some that are annoyed by it. Okay. At least they responded though, right? I
Mhm.
mean, again, if I paid $50 and someone, to generate a lead, and, all I got back was, a customer saying that I was annoying, I'd be okay with that. I'm absolutely fine with that. At least I have the answer, right? At least I know which direction to push that person. All right. Now, if I have somebody that's come in, and I have this situation almost daily, to be honest with you. Again, we've been communicating with someone for 3 months. We may have 30 or 40 messages that have gone out that they've maybe answered, and they've got a score. We know they're sitting in a 40. All right. We know they're still engaged. And then all it takes is just, that day they decide, yeah, you know what, we want to move forward, right? That's all it is. And if I had given up anywhere in that process, again, how many jobs are we losing? Tons, right? You can't just survive off of brand new leads. Okay. Companies that do that, again, they have a lot of problems, downstream and upstream. Even if you're using, sales reps, if they have no follow-up to that, no way of nurturing, no way of, getting their message across, all right, they leave themselves vulnerable for ups and downs in the economy, right? This is marketing 101 in terms of making sure, again, that your customer sees the value in your service, that you get the chance to differentiate, and that at the end of the day, we can get premium numbers for our service. Okay. Also, the real secret here to revenue and revenue gains, all right, is not looking at a lead as a one and done situation. Okay. Not ever looking at any customer as a one and done. If you're not at this point looking at every customer, no matter which market you're in, as a lifetime customer, all right, that you're going to provide wow service to no matter what, okay, then you're truly going to start to, fade away, I promise. All right. For consistency, again, it's 5 times more expensive to generate a new customer, all right, than it is to keep the ones that you have and remarket to the people who've already worked with you. All right. So again, a lot of this system is built on building relationships. It's built on, really using good communication to have somebody, recognize your brand and be aware of you, recommend you to friends and family, even if they haven't done business with you down the line. Okay. This is where the power of these CRMs and sales processes and building these things out really kind of, dominate, and where we're going to see a lot more of these things coming online, where we're going to have to compete with that. So I want anybody that's still doing things manually, and I'm not saying you're doing anything wrong. I'm not saying you have to change. All right. The choice is yours. Okay. But I want you to think long and hard about this situation. All right. Think about the guy that comes into the market that is doing all of these extra things, but not spending any more time doing it than you are. Is he going to win long term over you? Right? Can you compete with this? If this was fully automated, if you're coming in and a contractor is fully organized and you're not, is that going to allow you to grow and scale? No. All right. Do you think any of this is going away? Do you think any of this is a fad or a phase? No. The reality is it's here to stay, and it's only going to get more and more powerful. As we get into the AI, now I tend to try and keep AI to a minimum in these conversations. I want to be really clear, although our name is Contractor AI. My belief, and I will remain firm on this, is that AI is a tool. All right. It's something that helps us to generate sales. It helps us to get appointments booked. It helps to fill in gaps and save time. but it is not a replacement for a human being. All right. We are still in the human people to people business. Okay. For as long as I can, and as far as I can see so far, nothing has persuaded my opinion. We still have to be good communicators, and we still have to know how to actually move our customers and build relationships. Does that make sense? Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Cool. All right. So anybody have any other questions in regards to what I'm sharing here? Any of the resources that I can better help you guys with and get you pointed in the right direction? I'd like to spend the last few minutes here just kind of going through um, what the next steps are. Nope, we're good. Okay. Awesome. All right. So next we're going to talk about your exact next steps, and then we want to make sure that we're launching our offers today. So who here believes that they can launch an offer today?
I'm not ready yet.
What's that?
I'm not ready yet. I still
You're
need to
not
get the
ready yet?
financing. No, I still
Okay.
got to work with finance it. So no, I'm not ready.
You're not ready yet? Okay.
No.
So again, assume the sale like when we launch an offer, and I wanted to be clear about this because I see this all the time. Um, you have to validate it first, right? So the worst thing to do is go spend a whole bunch of time developing something, all right, putting all your work and energy into it, and then launch it and it gets crickets. How would that feel?
Well, that would suck.
That would suck, right?
Yeah.
So you know what I would do proactively ahead of that? And now I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm gonna tell you what I would do is I would go to my social media channels, all right? I would ask my audience or whoever I have there if that was something interesting to them. I would use my email contacts and go back and follow up with prospects that have been in our pipeline and make them that offer. Don't try and run it on a fresh new lead source. Go back to people that you've already had a conversation with or already have given quotes to and make them the offer there, right? You have that email list, you use the system. So, I mean, it just run the email back to them and see what the response is.
Oh, wait. So like some people who haven't like signed, if they haven't replied to like after I send the quote, say, hey, if we offer like like financing at like 0% for 12 months, like would you take it?
Right.
Is that what you
You got
mean?
it. Yeah, absolutely. So again, it opens up a new conversation, right?
But
So
I still
even a
need to be
simple
ready.
text, what's that?
I still need to be ready in case they say, yeah, sure, let's go. I'm
Mhm.
like, well, okay, but
Right. So again, don't get like what I was saying is like don't put it into like a Facebook ad or anything like that. Like you're gonna go back and rerun that in your follow-up sequences, right? You don't want to test new offers on a new audience. Okay. You want to prevent that as much as possible. The other thing you can do is survey your customer. Okay. So if you have a customer you've done business with already, call them up, have a conversation with them and say, hey, I just wanted to get your advice. What would you have thought if, earlier on I was able to offer financing? Would that have helped you to move the job forward faster? Okay. Remember, again, you got to use the data that's being shared with you, the information being shared
mm,
with you to make these decisions because we only have a limited amount of time, right? So again, when it comes to offers, like it's very important that you take the time to think about them, like you guys are, and actually, write them out, get some opinions. Our community is a great place. Sharing your offer, you guys got feedback yesterday, right? I've shared some feedback with you on it and try to really get them going. But the next step to that is going to be go back to your active list now. All right, your warm leads, ones that are middle of the funnel, and see if you can convert them with it. Right?
that's a good
Make
idea.
sense? Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that might get some of those people that weren't responding that had financial problems, right? So like, and it could be as simple as a text, hey, you know what? We just started a new program here. Wanted
Hmm.
to see if we could bring you in at a $0, zero interest rate. Would you be interested in moving forward? Right? They're either going to say yes or no, right?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Yep. So again, that's how we would launch a finance kind of offer. And again, we can chat about it. I've built you some SOPs for it as well. So, that's a really, really strong, like, especially right now, it's really, really strong with the market.
Good, good. I'll try that.
Okay. So the next thing I want you guys to do, if you want to take this one step further, is just like I said, show me your follow-up. All right. And I will tell you if you make money. Again, the money is in the follow-up. If you're not converting, on the first call or the first attempt, especially in B2B, I'm going to say where you have a third party maybe making a decision, you're dealing with a facility manager that has to go through them. Again, be consistent with your follow-ups. All right. Be thoughtful of who your decision makers are, and be clever. Right. We've got a lot of resources here for you to draw from. There's a million different ways to kind of take position with specific offers, but if you're just leaving that whole, time or that gap between yes and no empty, that's where you're losing, that's where you're losing a tremendous amount of revenue and opportunity. And even if we did bring you in leads, more leads, you're still going to see mediocre results without a follow-up. Make sense? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you guys to post your follow-up. Nick, if you want to think about those text messages and what that would look like, happy to help you critique those. And in that manager one, I think we mentioned the finance as well. So let's get those messages dialed in. We'll get them set up and we can measure our results, right?
Yep.
All right, that's the fun in this. Johnny, the same thing. Again, if we're, wanting to go back after facility managers and clients you've done business with, that might get quite a few of your jobs that are kind of sitting in limbo across the line. So that would be, again, a good way to start generating more revenue. Okay. Again, just a reminder for everybody, in school, I have a whole bunch more templates and stuff. If you put your hand up, anything that you need or you're struggling with, anything that's going to allow you to take action today, whether it's a small amount of action or a big amount of action, I don't care. I mean, let's just make this our priority. Nothing happens without you taking the first step. Okay. So I want everybody to get results from the time you're spending with me. And I've given you absolutely no excuse whatsoever for not getting them. Um, and then, of course, for everybody that's not in our program already and that's maybe listening on the live stream, we have a very special limited time offer, of course, following the rules from yesterday, and only accessible to people that are running the challenge. We'll share the link in the chat and on the pages if you want to have a look at it. Basically, we're offering this whole setup, as well as helping you to get your pricing and helping you to get your operations in line, and following our Contractor AI program. And yeah, I'd love to see you guys take advantage of that. We're only running it through this challenge, and we'll get into what we're going over tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to be overcoming obstacles that can slow down your lead generation. So we're going to really kind of look at how to streamline things, how to really make sure that your process is getting you the results, and most importantly, how to measure properly, right? How to actually see your numbers in your marketing and understand what is working, and what can be improved. All right. Again, everybody, I appreciate you joining and tuning in. Hopefully we've delivered some value for you today, and looking forward to you guys posting your results shortly on our revenue